these are all digital solutions. Next one, please. All the digital solutions that we can all get involved in. So coming to artificial intelligence, I'm sure we don't have a lot of time, so I'll just rush through. Go back one step. Yeah, I've already talked about AI. Yeah, data-driven decision-making for crop health. So AI can be used to deal with crop health, pest control, irrigation, post-harvest systems, and so on. For those of you who followed the Engineering Innovation Award that Nigeria Academy of Engineering did, was it last year, I think? I've even forgotten. Was it last year? Okay. That was the last outing I had as president of Academy of Engineering. That award started in my tenure, and the winner, it was an Engineering Innovation Award. I don't know how many of us saw it. How many saw it? Anybody here? Because for young engineers, I think the second round is on now, because we were able to institute it, and it's now going to be happening every year. The first prize was won by an agric engineer from Makurdi. And what did he do? Smart AI-assisted irrigation system. Very interesting project which he brought to Lagos to display. And he got 10 million, I believe, either 5 or 10 million, to commercialize this idea that is, well, it has gone beyond ideation because he actually had a prototype. The way the award works is that when you apply, they will come and see what you have done so far. And if there is proof of concept, you can now qualify to be invited to compete. And if you pitch well, you can win. And I remember that when we started this, as president, people, that academy is, the average age is 70 actually. So you can imagine if the average age is 70, and at the time I became president, I think I was 63 or 64. So I was one of the boys in the room. Each time we meet, I was one of the young boys in quote, dealing with people that are in their 90s and 80s, engineers that have seen it all. So the first thing they told me, this is your award thing. Don't spend our money giving award to people. But the interesting thing is that we pitched this idea with corporate organizations. And I tell you, the committee that handled this raised over 60 million. And all that money went to support about 10 innovations, the winners at different levels. I think they are in the second round now. I don't know if it's closed. Who knows? I'm just saying it so the young engineers here, please, you can Google and find out if it has closed. If it has closed, not to worry. You can prepare for next one. It's going to be a yearly thing. But you have to have a solution to a problem, okay? And the problems or challenges we are talking about are all sectors of the economy. It just happened that last year, it was in the agri sector that the best solution came up. So AI-powered computer vision for disease detection, climate control, and so on. These are all areas that we can have solutions that can fetch us money and other things. Next. Internet of Things, I'm sure, you understand all this more than myself. Smart homes, smart transport, smart everything. And they are gradually coming to us in the cities. I think the developers are now promoting smart cities. I once visited, not once, I have a friend that lives in one of the Cosgrove estates. I think the one in Jabi. And the first day I went to his house, I said, let me know if it is another media hype when they say the Cosgrove is a smart. But I saw, and I agreed with them that they had actually built a smart estate. Because you can't enter that place without, yeah. And even when you enter, once your car approaches something, the camera picks up your car, and then depending on where you are saying you are going, the person that you want to see will actually have to activate that gate by pressing a button or maybe saying something, and then the gate opens. And so when you leave, the system still locks you and finds out, uh, some of the things that the big hotels do. If you have a visitor, when your visitor is leaving, they call you from reception and say, your visitor is leaving, are you okay? I guess they do that because of some situations where somebody can go into a room and kill somebody and sneak out. So these are what smart things can do. But IoT is also, you can have smart homes, smart health, everything is now going smart. Yeah, next one. But who provides the services for this smartness? Engineers. We need to work on all these. So whether it is smart agriculture or whatever it is, we need to work with those who are in the IT sector to be able to deal with this. And these things are all driven by smart sensors. So sensor development is another area. I have a project with one of our colleagues somewhere in Bauchi. And I conceived that project and said, look, I'm very busy. I can give you this project. Pitch it with TED Fund. Who knows, you might win. And I suggested a number of people that he can call. Eventually, he got some of our colleagues actually. Everybody in that team is an agric engineer. And this is about precision farming or precision agriculture. And they got the grant. But we found that there was a sensor they were looking for. We eventually got that thing from Netherlands, but it's still not dealing with the problem that we want it to solve. Which means sensor development is a green area. It's an area that we should all be thinking about. Smart sensors. I remember when I was doing my PhD, the concept I had in my head was the autonomous tractor concept. At that time, autonomous tractor was still, science fiction. How can a tractor be moving without? But I pitched it with a number of manufacturers like John Deere and International Harvester. They told me it's a concept that they are thinking about, but that it is possible. And I actually did this using my tillage. Those of you who know me very well, you know I started with tillage. So I created a tillage environment in the lab. And the task I gave myself was to be able to acquire tillage data, process the data, and use it to drive the equipment. So if I want the soil in the bin to be prepared at 12-13% moisture, the system will be able to configure and irrigate it and till it. And when you test that moisture, you see that it's actually what you want it, which is what you can do. That time, remember, technology has not come. Everything I did was wired. There was nothing like radio wave then. So this equipment I had in my lab had all kinds of wires linking, all to my desktop computer. There was no laptop. But today, with sensors, smart sensors, these sensors can sense something and send it to you. When I say you, I mean your device, whether your phone or whatever, data logger, without wires. And we take it for granted because now we have mobile phones, but it's actually smart sensors, and all these can help us to have these systems functioning. Next one. So Internet of Things is there. The beauty of Internet of Things is that you can now get every information you need, every data you need, and then embed it in what you are. Then we talk about vertical farming. This is usually for places where you don't have land. Sometimes we say, no, we have land, there is no need for this. But if you are going to do urban agriculture, then you must do vertical farming. What that means is that instead of using the land, you can actually plant in layers. And of course, in most cases, it's for horticulture. I don't know if you can plant yam like this. But you've seen in social media that some people say you can now put soil in feed bags and then plant near your fence, and it will still yield. But you see, it's beyond social media now. I have done it. Oh, excellent. Excellent. Okay. Except if you are looking for the kind of tubers of yam they have in the Delta area Uh, yeah, but you see, technology has come to help us. And actually, if you are thinking about processing, you don't need the yam to be. You talk about yam mini sets, so you can have small, small yield. And if you are going to process, it really doesn't matter whether it is a big tuber or a small tuber. The important thing is that you have everything. So vertical farming, move on. To save our time, I will just highlight all these drones. There are a number of agri-tech companies that are offering drone services to people. Smart irrigation systems, next. Hydroponics, aeroponics, I've already talked about this. Is soilless farming. You can actually farm without the soil. Next. But of course, what you now need to do is that support that the soil gives, you need to find it. And that's where using ropes and things like that will come in. Blockchain, I've mentioned, is about managing the produce and making sure that we achieve traceability, which is very important for especially the developed world where they talk about organic farming. Is this organically grown? For us, we are still battling with food, so anything goes. Nobody asks. Eh? Yeah. So what are the benefits of urban agriculture? We already seen it. I think even our first lady is promoting it as a national policy that people should do garden and so on. Sometimes we say, is it ordinary garden? But I know people who are surviving in this town by growing fish at the back of their house. Many. But where do we come in as engineers? Providing those services that these people need. You may not be the one to do it, but you are providing the service as a consultant or as an entrepreneur. Yeah, please go on. So the benefits are there. As I conclude, I just want to highlight some case studies just to whet your appetite, and you can actually get more. Just type in Google agri-tech companies. If you know how to do search very well, I'm sure you will see a lot. And they are real. Some of them have raised seed money or operational money, $1 million, 500,000, and so on. And I just mentioned a few. Plenty, Infarm, Aerofarms. Some of these are in Nigeria. Hello Tractor, I'm sure we are all agric engineers. I don't know if we know about this startup. Relief, and so on. Move on. These are all agri-tech companies, and I'm considering them as tech, as case studies, because all of them, without exception, are leveraging on AI and tech. That is the only thing that makes you to be an agri-tech. And that's the only thing that can make you to have an edge over others. So you look for your niche area. What area of agriculture can you come in? Is it in production? Is it in distribution? Is it in offering financial services? And so as agric engineers, we should all be able to, because we are talking about the entire value chain of agriculture. And if we do this, you'll notice that we can begin to have a number of startups springing up, run by young engineers or related professionals, providing services in the agricultural sector. And what will be the end product? It means that those who want to go into urban agriculture will be able to find services around them. Move on. But there are challenges. Number one challenge is what? High initial investment. It is like the story of solar. And one of those, in my younger days, I used to do some work in the area of solar. And we say, solar is free. Is it really free? Somebody came here, and I'm sure he didn't know my background. So he was trying to teach me how I can put this entire campus on solar. I held myself, I took all the lecture he gave me. I said, thank you very much. But I know why I haven't done it is what? Because of this high initial investment. We just started actually in this university. I gave those who are working on this for me a target that before students come back this semester, the students are arriving this week actually, that all their hostels should be on solar. I think they've done 2 and then they're now on the 3rd one. And The interesting thing why I'm bringing this up is when we conceived this, I was looking for the money after conceiving it. I was looking for money, and of course, as you know, vendors were coming. And then in one meeting, one of my staff said, but Prof, we have people who are experts in batteries, we have some in renewable energy, we're even producing PhDs in this area. Why should you give this as contract? Let's do this as, I said, oh, with all pleasure. And they thought I was joking. I said, okay, let's form a committee. Every expert on solar, whatever expert you are, come together, including students. Let's do this as a university project. And I tell you, all the things we did, we procured them directly from manufacturers, all the things that we had to do. And they supervised and got artisans and those who do the actual thing. And I think two of the hostels, yesterday on Monday, I inspected this and they are working. Or at least I was seeing sensors that tell me that they are working.
Recording stopped.
Okay. And so these things are possible, but the high initial cost, technical skills gap, data issues. If you are going to use AI, data becomes a problem. And you will see if you really go deep to use this AI, especially, for example, if you use it for research or for writing. I tell them, unfortunately, when I use it to say, okay, give me a paper or a summary of a paper on a particular topic, I notice that they can only give you historical things that are historical. And that's where you now come in as the expert to now add what is current. So for AI to work very well, you need data, historical data. And that is also an opportunity for all of us as professionals, providing this data that can be used for developing some of these AI tools. Cybersecurity, issues of regulation, poor access to technology, poor access to electricity, and of course, poor internet. I'm sure some of the delays we're having is because the bandwidth or something is, and it is costly. But we are making progress. Like I shared with some people this morning in a training I conducted on engineering economy. I told them that we have gone, even though we are experts in hitting ourselves as Nigerians, we've actually gone very far in technology. I still remember as a young academic like some of you, when I was age of some of us here, at Nsukka, the cost for browsing was so high that every Friday night and Saturday night, I go to Enugu. Those of us from the east, you know Enugu from Nsukka to Enugu is about 45 minutes, 1 hour. But I go there in the evening to do overnight browsing in, I think it was Rainbow Net or so. One of the former governors just started the major internet browsing point at Enugu. So we'll be there in the night. As a young man, I will stay awake throughout the Friday and throughout Saturday to do browsing. Why? Because of the high costs. But today, you can see it as I'm speaking now. In fact, some of my students do that. When you say something, especially my postgraduate students, when you say something, they think, Prof has goofy out. They quickly Google. They quickly Google, I tell you, Prof. So, this is where some of the challenges, and you are able to do that if you have good connectivity. So this is an area that we still need to work on as a nation to have proper, good connectivity. Of course, connectivity is related to electricity supply. Electricity supply is related, they're all interconnected. But I believe we are making progress, but we need to do more. So what is the future? Awareness creation, and I thank NIAE Abuja chapter for this. I hope you know that NIAE as a national body has the CIGR group on AI. Who is in that group? In this room? Okay. Yeah, try to join. There is this young man in Makodi that is really very good in this. What's his name now? Is it Audu or so? Yeah, I read everything he writes on AI. Yeah, John Audu is really good. I think, I don't know where he learned it, but he's really good in this. So I encourage you, find out and belong to that. You will learn a lot from what others are presenting. So this awareness creation about AI and ETs, emerging technologies. In this university, I'm at the point of creating a center for AI and emerging technologies. I made that proclamation during our last convocation in January, and we are currently working on doing this. What that means is any emerging technology that comes out, we'll grab it and begin to teach people what it's all about and how they can use it to improve their productivity, not just for the sake of, and we can see the power of technology. I don't know how many of you are following the story in my state about traditional healers. Are they really healers? There's a young man from my community, actually, not just Anambra State. I come from that community. He's called Akwa. For those who are not Igbo, his name is Akwa Okoko Tiwaraki. That is that egg that you can use to break palm kernel. This young man is 24, but the father is a traditional healer using herbs and so to treat people. But he came and said, using the power of technology, that he doesn't heal you of sickness. He only heals you of a sickness of your pocket. So if you want to be rich, come. And he's doing this all over the social media. He's very popular on social media, especially in the East. But of course, so many other things now started coming in like it is in Nigeria. When I confronted him, what he said was that he's actually doing this for people if you are going abroad to make money. If you are going to Singapore, to Malaysia, you can take anything and pass. Nobody can detect. But you know how it is. The government is now clamping down because now those who do kidnapping, they now go to him. And then it's also changing the psyche. Even in my community, it has become a problem because the youths no longer think about learning anything because you can go and have this old kit or the pots. And when they arrested him, people were all shivering because, you know, if I go there and he does one for me, my pot is there with my name. And he goes to do incantations, so my money will keep growing. So they found that some kidnappers were caught and so on, and they named him as the person that provided the. Anyway, what am I talking about? That man has made money because of technology, beaming it in the minds of people that you can come there and become rich. And people, of course, the ones that are rich are the ones we hear about. They don't tell us about the other ones that go there and the little one they have vanished. Anyway. Oh, yes. Sorry?
Is that actually what he was doing?
No. What you, if, you know, I didn't go into details, but I mentioned that the father is about my age and has been practicing this Babalawo business. And the man, I don't even know if he has a motorcycle. But his boy started at 13, 14. And what now gave him money was when he leveraged on technology. Technology in this case is social media. That's what I mean. So, using social media to market, if you are on social media, you will always see him dancing. There is also the positive one. There is also another billionaire from my community called, who knows? I'm sure you don't know where I come from. Just to tell you that it's not all wayo, everything. There is also Obi Kubana. Obi Kubana is also from the same community. But he's doing genuine business. But like I tell people, he probably may not be the richest businessman in that community or in Nigeria. But he leverages on what? because his business is show business, entertainment, and so on. And he has been able to use the power of technology to multiply his. So that's what I'm saying, that sometimes some of the things we see, like some of the things that the people show us, and because of that we get convinced that they can make you to have money. It's all driven by technology. Otherwise, if the technology is not there, not many people will know what they're doing, except if you now decide to look for them. Maybe you are sick and they tell you when you go, this man will make you well. Okay? But technology is, even in what we are talking about, urban agriculture, it's only technology that can enable you tell the entire Abuja that you can supply eggs at half the price, and so on. It's also, you can even use AI to bamboozle people to see that when you eat this egg, you can grow 2 times your normal size. So that's the point I'm trying to make. Okay, micro farms promotion, policy support for urban agriculture is important. Those of us from the ministry, urban agriculture as a component of smart cities is something that developers can also think about. Of course, the area of research and development is important because these things have to be developed, these sensors and these technologies. And then finally, we must promote agri-tech startups and hubs. And this is where I will end my presentation, to sensitize us that these are opportunities for us as young agricultural engineers. Remember the case studies I showed. You can actually Google and see agri-tech companies, young companies that are coming up as startups. In this university, in the last 2 years, we've established an innovation hub. And we are promoting startups. Students, faculty, those who are interested in using technology to drive business, we encourage you. And you go through training, we've been pitching exercises. And we believe that people gradually will begin to raise funds, because funds is one of the biggest challenges. You may have ideas, but you may not have resources to implement. So agri-tech startups are very important next. And I believe that if we as agri-engineers embrace these technologies, learn about them, know about them, you don't have to be a computer scientist. But you learn enough to enable you see the business side of these things, how you can apply these things in agriculture. And when we talk about agriculture, we are talking about the entire value chain. If you don't want to go into production, you can be in the area of distribution. Somebody invited me once to help him revive a farm around, as you are heading to Kefi, one of those farms around there. And I put up a team of young people and we were going there, working on. And we found that even though he had a big farm, mixed farm, poultry, piggery, fish, integrated, 3 crops, but we were making more money marketing eggs. When we started, I found that we were not producing enough eggs to supply to the network of people that sell eggs within the city. And so one day I told the one young lady that became the manager, I said, look, we don't have to depend on only the ones we produce. There are others producing and they don't know about this market that we have. So let's develop this marketing eggs. It's amazing. The money we were making marketing eggs from others, we were not making that kind of money in the poultry farm, because there are challenges in the poultry farm, especially the issue of feeds. We were trying to develop a feed mill, because we found that most of the money was going in feed. And at the end of the day, the market determines the price of the egg. At that time, 700 naira or so, a crate. I don't know what it is now, I'm sure at that time. But we found that we could make more money picking eggs from different farms. And then with the power of technology again, we had created a network of people who are looking for eggs. And we take it to them. And so it depends on the area of the value chain, you create your own niche. If you can't go into production, you can go into processing, you can go into distribution. So I believe that these are the obstacles that we have in urban agriculture can be overcome. And I conclude my presentation by saying that agri-engineers should develop and promote AI and emerging technology, devices and systems for urban agriculture. We promote it, but I think where we have our niche is in developing the technologies, the sensors, providing the services. If it is areas that we can produce, of course, we bring in the technology. I just gave you an example of the solar system that we are doing here. I'm sure 80% of what we have here, even 90% are all imported. We actually ordered them directly. Again, power of technology. We couldn't have been able to do that without technology. Payment systems. Before now, it would have been difficult to wire money to somebody in China or in Lagos without seeing the person. And then what you ordered for lands here in Abuja, and you go and pick it up and install. So that's the power of technology. And I believe that as agri-engineers, we should be in the forefront of developing these agri-tech companies or agri-tech startups to provide these services, especially in the area of urban agriculture. And it's a vast area. It's a virgin area that is still coming up. We're already doing it anyway. Some people are still doing it, are already doing it, but we need to commercialize them. If you move around our campus now, you see that we have 2 waterways or 2 rivers. There's one that I'm sure you passed through. Another one came from this side, and then they meet somewhere and they continue. It's the same river that you will see in Gwagwalada. They are very small, but they are not small. If you have been old enough in this time, you know that the valley here actually swallowed somebody. So during the rains, they can actually become big rivers. And the point I'm making is that urban agriculture is already being practiced, because if you go to the banks of this as the water winds around our campus, you see that our staff are already farming around the water channel. And if this is done in a more systematic manner and with technology, I believe that we have so many of these possibilities that we can actually grow the food we eat in this town. Thank you for listening and welcoming me.
Thank you so much. Thank you, and thank you, and thank you. Indeed, we can't thank you enough. Please, can you give him another round of applause, please? This, I think, much more than we bargained for this afternoon. Please have your seat. Please have your seat, gentlemen and ladies.